What is up, everybody? It is Time Traveler Jacob coming at you live from the future. The video you're about to watch is about us putting the motor together, still at my house, getting the motor reassembled in my garage. And as you can tell, as of right now, I'm no longer in the garage and the motor is no longer being reassembled. If I turn the camera over a little bit, you see that we've made a decent amount of progress in the past few weeks, and I know it's been a while since I've talked to you guys. It might come off as, maybe I was taking a break. Quite the opposite. I've been kept very busy lately with work and school, as well as working on the drift car, and trying to balance everything has just been a lot lately. And unfortunately, I haven't really had the time or motivation to get behind the camera and start filming everything again. I won't go into a whole lot of detail, but let's just say that in the process of putting the motor together, we faced some difficulties, had some problems, and in general just had a lot of setbacks, which kind of hurt the progress and kind of killed the video that you are watching right now. Because when we were putting the motor together, we hit several roadblocks and filming just kind of stopped, and occasionally we would just make progress, kind of pinballing around doing whatever, and eventually we were able to get it done. But unfortunately, it wasn't exactly in a manner that would have been great for a YouTube video. But here we are. We've made a lot of progress and gotten a lot of stuff done, and I figured it is finally time for me to hop back in front of the camera. So without further ado, before we can see all of this, we got to get to what led up to it. So what that means is we have to restart the process, which means going back, getting the motor put together, which is what you guys are about to watch. And then once that's finished up, we'll go ahead and jump into the present. So enjoy the video, and I'll see you guys later. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. As you can tell from the title of this video, today is going to be an exciting day. Finally taking a step away from working on the car and focusing more on the engine. So today, new film location. We're at our house in our garage, and we're going to finally start throwing some of the new parts on this thing and see how much progress we can make on getting this motor reassembled. Went into a little detail about it before, but if you can't already tell, this motor is going to be a bit spicy for next year. We've got some pretty awesome parts in this thing. You can't really see a whole lot from this angle, but on the inside of this motor, we've got CP pistons, BC 625 rods, King race bearings, RS Garage main caps, and ARP main studs. So if you know anything about motors, you know that this thing will take quite the beating. Taking one last good look at the bottom of this motor, seeing all these pretty fancy parts before covering it up and hopefully not seeing it again for a while. So as you saw in the last clip, we got this thing all nice and cleaned up. We tried to take care of any kind of grime or debris that may have built up on that surface. Obviously, throwing the oil pan on here, the last thing we want this thing to do is leak once we're done. So we're trying to be as proper as possible in this process. We might be on a little OCD on this thing, but we've got a Toyota manual printed off. We've got the exact instructions on how they want you to lay this gasket on. As opposed to just a regular gasket, it's a seal that you make yourself. And so we're gonna be going around with this, putting our own gasket on there, making sure to follow this path that it tells us, where there are some holes that you wanna go inside, some holes you wanna go outside. Really specific, maybe we're worrying about it too much, but trying to make sure we do everything the right way. And hopefully this is our first and last time of doing it. Wasn't too bad. We got the seal all nice and done on there. This packet that we got here goes as specific as to even how thick the bead is itself. So I'm surprised we didn't break out a micrometer just to check and make sure we're in the right millimeter range for that. But with that being done, we're gonna go ahead and take it over here to the motor, throw it on there, and get some bolts on it. We also had two dowel pins, one here and one here. We went ahead and tapped those in just to help guide us into place. And now we're gonna get those bolts thrown on. It might not have been the smoothest of sailing, but we were able to get this thing thrown back on the motor, or thrown on the motor. Come to find out, these nuts on both sides are studded. We were able to use our old JZ, which luckily is still sitting here, to find out that those nuts are studded because we thought we were missing bolts. Come to find out, that's why. And so we were able to thread those in, get all the bolts torqued down, and now we're moving on to the next thing. And that next thing is in this box. What we have in here is the Tomei oil baffle kit, which is another thing that we're doing, looking at trying to avoid any kind of oil starvation issues, trying to keep this motor as healthy as possible for as long as possible. This is the oil baffle, checking it out outside of the package, get this thrown on the motor, and see what's next. Oil strainer. So the purpose of having this while we're doing it is just basically to prevent the oil from sloshing around too bad, preventing it from getting into anywhere where it might be needed. Obviously in drift, we go through quite a bit of G-force and everything in the car gets tossed around quite a bit going from turn to turn. This will prevent the oil in the motor from getting tossed around too crazy and prevent any kind of starvation anywhere, hopefully letting this thing live a longer life. So we got the baffle plate on, everything's installed, the bolts are torqued down, and this thing ain't going nowhere. Now we're going on and putting the lower oil pan on. Same story as the oil pan that we already did. We have a set guide to put another gasket on here. We'll do that, trace around the circles, whatever the manual tells us to, and then we'll get that thrown on the motor. Adios, I'll see you later. Well, hopefully not. See you in a little while when we take you back apart eventually. So we got the motor flipped back over, and from our initial reactions of seeing this, it's pretty funky seeing the oil pan sit in roughly the middle of the motor instead of all the way in the front. Being a rear sump, obviously it's gonna sit a little bit further back. So normally a JZ pan would sit somewhere around this area, but now it's tucked all the way towards the back. Kind of weird to be seeing it like that, but also pretty sweet to see this thing start to come together. So before we get the head thrown on here and block off the pistons from seeing them again, we went ahead and threw some oil in all of the cylinders. The oil won't have been already in the cylinders on the first startup, so pre-lubing them will just help us give some more reassurance, make sure everything operates nice and smoothly on the initial startup, and we should be good from there. But now cleaning the head surface back off, and then we're gonna get the head thrown on. Got a mammoth of a head gasket going on here. That thing looks sweet. As far as head bolts, we're going with the custom age 625 head bolts, which are much stronger than the standard ARP bolts that we were already using. They're recommended by pretty much everyone that uses the JZ platform at high horsepower. So I'm gonna be using those and get this thing snugged down. So the camera died, but after charging it up for a little bit, we're still roughly in the same place. We took the head studs that we were previously talking about, used the assembly lube that they ship with it, and went ahead and got those in the head. So all of the studs are currently in place, and to all 50 of you that are watching this video, if you're ever doing this yourself, make sure that you put the washer in before the stud, because if you do it other than that, you won't be able to get it in at all. So just a piece of advice. Luckily, we didn't have to learn the hard way with that. That was just something that my dad knew, but we got those in and we're gonna go ahead and snug them down. And just like any other head stud or tighten down any other head bolts, they have the sequence that they want you to do it in, so we're gonna make sure we follow by this and get everything nice and tight. We went ahead and got everything hand tight, and we started in the middle, worked from the middle outwards like it tells you to. Now we're gonna work our way up to 100 foot-pounds in increments of 3. So we're gonna do one time around at 30-ish, one time around at like 60, and then another time at 100. coming back, part 1.5 of the motor rebuild. We waited on some parts last week. We were supposed to get them last week, but we ended up getting a little delayed on the delivery. So we are getting back to work this week. We have everything that we need for a motor rebuild like what we're doing right now. As you saw, we lastly got the head on the motor, and the next step would obviously be getting the head reassembled and then throwing the valve covers on it and then carrying on from there, worrying about the timing and everything, getting all that set up. But because we didn't have our buckets in time to continue working on that last week, we went ahead and started throwing on some of the accessories for the motor and just kind of killing time, doing whatever we could to keep making progress. But now this week we have our buckets and we're gonna keep working on the head and hopefully get the valve covers on. So speaking of the buckets, we got them ordered from Toyota, and this is what they all look like. We have them all sorted out with a spreadsheet with all of their part numbers on my dad's phone here. And we're gonna go by the part numbers, put them in one by one, coating them with oil before we put them on the head to ensure proper lubrication and making sure everything's nice and happy. And then after we're finished up with that, we're gonna throw the cams on and then double check the clearance on the valves. So we got all the buckets thrown on, and as you can tell, this is how they look with them. You see the difference that it made just by slipping those over top of the valves. And to get these, we took a measurement of everything, calculated our clearances, and figured out which size buckets we would need. Ordered them from Toyota, and now we have them in the motor. We're getting ready to remeasure these things, make sure all the clearances are good so that the motor will be able to run happily. There will be no issues with that. And then carry on from there, get the cams on, then keep assembling from the head up. So as far as the accessories that we got thrown on the front of the motor, it wasn't really a whole lot, anything too crazy. We just got the power steering pump and the water pump thrown on, as well as this gear at the bottom, crank trigger wheel, I think that's the right term. But anyway, now that we're back here, we got the buckets, bless you. We got the buckets, and we're gonna throw the cams on here, remeasure everything, make sure all the clearances are nice and happy, all the tolerances as it should be, and then we'll carry on building from the head up. Now, if we take a look at the motor, this thing has made quite the transformation. We got the cams in place, checked all of the clearances, and everything looks pretty good. So no concerns there whatsoever. Working on the timing system now. We're about to throw the timing belt on. Go ahead and do that in 3, 2. Super sweet, look at that thing. Nice, pretty fresh blue on there. And now, after installing the timing belt, the next step is to pull what is known as the grenade pin. This releases the tension on the tensioner, and it is super awesome, super cool. 3, 2, yeah, just kidding, nothing happens. But with that being done, the timing belt is officially on and the motor is timed. With the motor being turned over right now, everything is finally coming together. Hopefully not literally, but everything is moving in unison right now. The entire motor is working as one whole thing, which is unbelievable to think about, with saying that, you know, just a week or so ago, this whole thing was just the block, and now we're all the way up here already. So, Time Traveler Jacob back here again. What you just saw was pretty much all that I got as far as the video with building the motor. It sucks just to kind of leave off right there. I know it's not exactly a very good closing point for that video, but Around the time that I stopped filming is when we started running into a bunch of problems, having a bunch of setbacks, but we were able to push through and we were able to get the motor put back together, getting everything reassembled, and have made some pretty good progress. We hit that roadblock, but we were able to push through over time, get the motor put together, and now, like I said, we're at the shop with it. But if you want to see some more details about what we've been doing, staying busy, and what all we've gotten done on the car, you're gonna have to tune in for the next video. But for now, if you liked the video, be sure to drop a like, maybe leave a comment down below if you're feeling generous, and be sure to hit that subscribe button. And for now, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Do you lie awake at night? Are you afraid to turn out the lights? Is there